I know a lot of people aren't going to admit it, but did the Atlanta Hawks win the trade deadline? And in this video, I'm going to break down why I think the Atlanta Hawks had a sneaky good trade deadline, what this means for their future, and what's going on in their camp right now. For the Atlanta Hawks, it's been kind of good since the trade deadline. They're 3-0, and they're showing signs of life. They've moved up to the 8th spot in the East, and more importantly, they're 1.5 games back from that 6th spot that secures them a playoff berth. But there's a lot of news that came out today, and then there was a lot of moral victories that happened last night that I'll talk to you about. But the big news of the day is Brandon Ingram, per Shams, Brandon Ingram signs a 3-year, $120 million extension with the Toronto Raptors. This means that the Atlanta Hawks not only were able to save a first round draft pick, but also they were able to save $120 million over the next 3 years. And that's something that this ownership seems to value. Not only staying cheap, but really trying to get good value out of players. And I find that they weren't going to sign that extension. And because of that, they ended up winners, in my opinion. Brandon Ingram is a great player, and I was slamming on the desk to get him to come to Atlanta. But for 3 years, $120 million, I think there could be other options that the Atlanta Hawks could use that money toward. And to be honest, at the end of the day, I'm kind of happy they didn't get him. Now, moving on, talking about the players that the Atlanta Hawks did get. Now, if you missed out, the Atlanta Hawks got Georges Niang and Caris LeVert from the DeAndre Hunter trade, which a lot of people thought was very questionable. And then they got Terrence Mann and Bones Hyland from the Bogey trade. Essentially, they waived Bones Hyland because they were really wanting Terrence Mann. And as we're starting to see, it makes sense why. Of the 3 players, we've seen them play 2 games, and we've seen the immediate impact that these guys have made. Georges Niang is a sniper from the 3-point range, something that the Atlanta Hawks truly needed. Caris LeVert is a very athletic wing who can get to a spot and make a shot. He is also a great defender. Oh, and he can shoot the ball at 40%. And Terrence Mann, once again, very athletic wing who can shut down many players, but also has the ability to push pace and get to the rim when he needs to. All 3 veteran bench players who've shown that they could help the Atlanta Hawks win basketball games. And to be honest, the fact of the matter is that we traded 2 for 3 in that deal is something that may work out in the Hawks' favor. Now, moving on, I want to read you this tweet, and it's very interesting, and it is by Mike Conti, and he says, the Hawks are now 3-0 since the trade deadline and have moved up to 8th in the East. They won, talking about last night, their defeat against the Orlando Magic. They won the bench scoring 54-25 in tonight's win at Orlando, with LeVert, Niang, Mann combining for 38 points. I want to let you know on a stat. They scored 38 between the 3, 38 of the 54. That means they scored 70% of the bench points. That 70% is from new acquisitions that, if they didn't make these trades, wouldn't have been there. This is production already, and these guys haven't even gotten to really practice. And this is something that is showing a lot of Atlanta Hawks fans that this might have been a sneaky good deadline for the Atlanta Hawks going forward. Now, for the foreseeable future, I'm expecting that these 3 guys will anchor it down, but I more specifically want to talk about Caris LeVert right now and his production. Like I said, athletic wing player, but against Orlando, he had 18 points, he hit 3 threes, and he had 8 rebounds. Moving on to Terrence Mann in the game last night. He had 12 points, he was 100% from the field goal, he had 3 threes, and he was a defensive, I would say, stopper. The Atlanta Hawks not only got younger in their depth, but they gained 40% 3-point shooters. They gained, I would say they got better from a defensive perspective because they gained 2 athletic on-ball wings that can do a phenomenal job of stopping who you need to stop. You also get a 40+% three-point shooter in Georges Niang who can be a sniper. At the end of the day, a lot of people may not like how the Atlanta Hawks got to the position they're in now, but this trade deadline was a win for the Atlanta Hawks. Now, a lot of other media report and analysts basically said the Atlanta Hawks deserve a F or a D- for their trade deadline. And as we continue to see, and I know it's been a small sample size, 3 games, the Atlanta Hawks seem to have gotten it right. And we may see, depending on how far they go or how deep they go, that F or D- turn to a B+ or an A. Because the Atlanta Hawks got exactly what they needed to help Trae Young and the Atlanta Hawks succeed. And that's scoring, that's athletic wings, and that is bench depth play and players who can push the pace within the second unit. Now, I'm going to be honest, I was not a fan of these trades at all. But for the fact of the matter is, we got guys who could replace the production of DeAndre Hunter. We got guys who could just shoot just as well as Bogey Bogdanovic. And we got cheaper, better shooters, just as equal production as DeAndre Hunter, cheaper contracts. At the end of the day, all 3 of those are wins, and all 3 of those make the Atlanta Hawks significantly better than they were at the beginning of the trade deadline. Now let's hope this keeps going. Let's hope the Atlanta Hawks can keep it rolling. But as of right now, they're 3-0. And if they continue on this pace, don't be shocked if they make a deep playoff run with Trae Young at the head of the car driving. But if you enjoyed this video, please do me a favor. Hit the thumbs up, subscribe, and turn on the post notifications. And if you want to see more videos like this, check this one out right here. And like always, peace.